Hey there.
Hello.
Hi, welcome. So today we're going to be talking about a muscle that when it's overly tight can cause lots of problems. One of the things it can do is actually cause your knee to just buckle.
Buckle. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, which is not good.
No. Good.
Okay. So, anyways, this muscle is actually nicknamed the quitter. It just quits, and so we're going to talk about that here in a minute. But I mean, it's a very interesting muscle because most of it is hidden. We can see it here on Mr. Manny, and we'll talk about location here in a minute. But this upper part of it is actually underneath the other muscles in the front of the leg. So really, most people only see this little teardrop thing. A lot of people don't even know it. That is a muscle, unless you like a cyclist or you're into bodybuilding or you're into anatomy, you might know this muscle. And you may have heard this muscle actually called the VMO. That's another name that people will generally hear.
Okay, great. Okay, so hi, we're Brian and Christina
Whoa.
from Your HealthySteps, and we're the creators of the Ultimate Foam Roller Blueprint, and we teach purposeful foam rolling and self-care skills so you could be active and pain-free. And so we've been neuromuscular massage therapists for the past 15 years, and so we're sharing with you what we know about muscles and how to take care of them.
How to take care of them. Yep. How to do preventative stuff.
Yeah.
And this is a big one for preventative stuff. So again, it's an interesting muscle. A lot of people don't even know it's here, but it can cause a whole lot of concerns over specifically the knee. It really can create some scary times for the knee. So we've had clients who were, this whole thing kind of started off like a bit of a pain, it wasn't that bad. And then it just kind of moved around a little bit, shifted around, and then it kind of went away. And then all of a sudden now I have this knee issue. And they've gone in and had it looked at and that type of stuff. So, some of it was knee issues and some of it was a muscular issue. And so, again, it's created some fairly interesting scenarios for us. So first of all, what is this muscle? This is Vastus Medialis. So it's the inside quadriceps. So we have 4 quadriceps. This is the inside one. And it's located, literally, it attaches all the way down the big bone of the upper leg called the femur. And there's this ridge on the backside of your femur, and it attaches to that inside part of that ridge, which is really interesting. We think of it as a front muscle, and it's actually attaching to a ridge on the back. I don't know. I think that's funny. And then it all comes down and attaches right into where all the other quadriceps attach, which is in the quadricep tendon or the patella tendon. It's all coming into this big mechanism that comes around the kneecap and does a lot of great work for us in the kneecap. So that's pretty much where it's located at. And then how do we find it on our body? Well, Christina's going to show you Mr. Man here.
Okay, so, and you can do this to yourself too.
Absolutely.
So you're just going to put your hand right at if you're sitting, right?
I'll stand up here.
Okay, so just put your fingers on the tip of your knee, and then just slide your hand over to the inside of your leg. And where your fingers are, that's where that muscle is. And you might even feel it if you do a lot of running or maybe a cyclist.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, as you move your hand up towards the inside of your knee, you're going to notice that muscle kind of disappears. You don't feel it as much. But if you just slide right up, that's where the muscle is underneath all the rest of our upper leg muscles.
Yeah, and this particular muscle does not attach to the top of the hip. There's really only one quad that does that. So people think it goes all the way up to the hip, and it does not. It just sort of stops about 3/4 of the way up there.
Okay.
So then how do we find it? So what does this muscle do? Do you want to?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So this muscle, since it's in this location, what it does is this helps bring the leg forward as you're walking or you're running. So it just moves it forward, it bends it at the knee. And then the other big thing that it does that's important is as your hamstrings in the back are moving this leg backward, this actually helps control, so it's not a
free-for-all.
Right? So there's a nice tug and pull balance between the muscles in the front and the muscles in the back. And it also, since it attaches to the knee joint, it also acts as a nice balance between the muscles on the outside of our legs that attach to the knee. So yeah, it's so important that this muscle is healthy, right?
Doing
because
its job.
it works as a balance in the back and then at the side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it plays a big part in how we walk and just the health of our knee.
Yeah.
So that's the next thing, is like, what happens when this thing gets tight? Well, we're going to talk about when it gets extremely tight, but as it tightens up, it's going to pull on the knee. So if it's working with these big muscles out here on the side, so either it's going to overpower it and pull the knee inward, or it's going to be a tug of war. One of them is going to win, right? So there's going to be an outward pull, an inward pull. Well, that puts a great deal of strain on the kneecap, which really we don't want strain on the kneecap. Right. It's not a good idea. So then as it gets tighter and we start to get bits and bits of pain, or maybe these trigger points start to kind of get active, we get this toothache kind of pain deep into the kneecap, way deep in there. And usually it appears when we're in bed. That it just gets this achy, throbby pain, and you're like, what in the world's going on? But it's not typically bad enough that you want to address it. It's almost like, what? So what I hear a lot is that, I just kind of chalked it up to getting old. Right? It's just aches and pains of getting old. But then what happens is those trigger points start to get a little bit more angrier, and then that pain gets a little bit more intense. Yeah, and we start feeling it in the kneecap, above the kneecap, on the inside of the leg, and then I don't know if you can see Mr. Mann, we got it sort of outlined in red, but it'll move right on up toward the thigh, but it doesn't generally get way up to the hip. It's just more the inside of the thigh. And again, it's just pain. And then what's interesting, this is kind of unique to the rest of the body, is that this pain will simply get less and less and less as the muscle gets tighter and tighter. And this is where it gets the name the quitter, because it just stops. And so what happens is it's no longer supporting the knee. And so when we're over rough terrain or we kind of turn real quick, the knee will buckle. It'll just give way. And then all of a sudden, people are like, oh my God, I got a knee problem, right? And so that's what they do. They go in and have it looked at. And then, I'm sure you can find some stuff in there, or maybe you do have a knee issue. But this is a very common cause of knee buckling is this muscle.
Right. How scary, right? Because you think maybe it's a knee or neurological problem.
Absolutely. You're thinking, what in the world is going on? And what happens if you fall when you don't want to fall? I mean, nobody wants to fall, but, going downstairs, rocky terrain, usually you're hiking someplace and the knee just gives out. And now you got not just you buckled the knee, but you broke your arm, you fell down. I mean, so yes, not good, not good.
Right. Okay. So who usually gets a muscle like this tight?
Well, these trigger points can get activated when you have weak feet or just the foot's not landing correctly in our gait. So that could be a problem, and that's definitely something to look out for or have looked at. Especially if you start getting that toothache kind of pain, that, obviously we're going to talk about self-care. That would be the first thing. But again, if that doesn't take care of it, maybe the feet need to be looked at. Or another source of this getting tight is athletes, people who are overworking these muscles. Cyclists, joggers can also have problems here. A lot of jumping, like basketball, volleyball, things like that, can definitely get this muscle fired up.
Yeah. Okay. So I think the tight feet thing is very interesting.
Very interesting. Yeah, you wouldn't think that, but because it's trying to stabilize in your feet or your foundation, and so that instability is going to go right up the leg, and it's going to impact the knee. Well, Mr. Vastus is going to be, or Mr. Medialis is going to get involved because he's trying to stabilize the knee, and he's the quitter. He just quits. And so then all of a sudden you have an overpowering problem. It just gets worse.
Wow.
So, yep.
Okay, so your self-care. We got a few minutes left just for self-care.
Foam rolling. Absolutely. And I'm stretching following that. But the foam roller, one, you had made a good point on it as we were writing this up, is that you've got to make sure you get all the way up. Oops, I didn't mean to. But all the way up as high as you can with that foam roller. And that's when we're talking about that roundness of the leg.
Yes.
When people foam roll, they foam roll like they're planks.
They just go here.
Yes.
Right?
I've got my quads. Well, you got two, but you didn't get the inside one. So you got to roll around a little bit.
Right. So that's what we talk about when we talk about purposeful foam rolling, right? Is you need to
foam
know where the muscle is, right? And the attachments, because when you know that, now you can work on this muscle with purpose.
Right. And the full length of it. Like, I got to get this whole thing.
Yes.
And that's, I totally foam roll with a purpose. Know what you're doing. And
one of the things, too, I like about foam rolling the front of the leg is that you're really getting an upper body workout too at the same time. Yep. So you're getting two
functional workout. Yep. We love it.
Things for one. Yeah. Okay. So, okay, so we have foam rolling, and then there's the stretching.
Your typical quad stretches, which you can just take your leg behind your body, just pull up like that. I don't know if we can actually see that, but stretching that leg out like that, that's a really good stretch for these muscles.
Okay.
Yeah, there are others, but that's a good start.
Okay, and then you said if your knee is buckling, first thing you should do before you whip out a foam roller is go to your doctor.
Go to your doctor. Yeah, don't play
out.
around. I mean, if it's buckling at that point, it may be a knee problem. You need to have that checked out. But we're all about preventative.
Yeah.
If you can get this problem taken care of and get this muscle loosened up, then you may never have a buckling knee. But yeah, if you've reached that point, go see your doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks. I hope this was helpful for you. If you learned something new, just hit a like button, share this,
Absolutely.
Hit the share button to share it with your friends, because it might be something that's really helpful for them.
We don't want anybody buckling their knees.
No.
Not good.
Yes, and then also just click on our link, check us out if you want to see what our foam rolling program is all about, and then you can also get a free PDF that's going to help you learn about how you can reduce your muscle tightness and pain.
Absolutely.
Okay?
All right.
Thanks so much.
Have
See you
a great
later.
day.
Bye-bye.